And hello, how are you doing? Time for a new video, making homemade Easter eggs. We'll start off with what we've got in front of us right now. We've got our little tray there, which is going to be our mould. We've got our chocolate, and behind that is the Callebaut chocolate. We're using Callebaut chocolate, it's Belgium. It's about 72%, it's brilliant. So once we've got the chocolate, we'll stick it into basically a bain-marie, which is basically a glass bowl in the pan with a little bit of hot steaming water underneath. So we're melting the chocolate down. First process of getting it all sorted, basically. Get that mixed up. It takes quite a while to do this because we melt it down, and basically we want to get it to a certain consistency. We don't want the water touching the chocolate at all in respect, or touching the glass dish, because that might burn the chocolate. So there we are, we're mixing it in. We'll move forward a little bit. Let's have a little look, see what this looks like now. Yes, it's still melting away. It's taking a little bit of time, but that, you know, don't worry about that. You don't want to be rushing it. So we'll just jump it forward a little bit, and with the melted chocolate, and have a look at it. Oh, there we go, looking a lot more like chocolate now. Nicely melted, all gooey. Yes, it does look gooey. Very messy job this, have to be saying. It was not fun. So we transfer it, there we go, it's into the bowl. Now what we're going to do now is what we call tempering, where we're going to have to reduce the heat from the chocolate that's just come off the pan, and we're going to add some, well, at least a couple of handfuls of chocolate. It's the Callebaut chocolate. This is the stuff that isn't cooked, and we're going to put that into the bowl, and we're going to mix that around till it melts. That will bring the temperature down. It's usually about 40 odd at the moment. We're going to bring it down to about 27, something like that. We just work on balance. You want it a nice thick chocolate, and you know, tempering chocolate basically means that you're giving it that snap, that crack when you open it, and it melts in your mouth. And obviously, when you rub it on your hands when it's set, it basically doesn't come off in your hands as a rule anyway, unless your hands are really hot. There we go. We've tempered the chocolate. We added actually about 3 handfuls of extra chocolate to mix that in. It took about 5 minutes to get that down to the right consistency. And now we're about time to put it in the mould. This is where it gets a little bit messy, but nothing to worry about. And I've put it on top of some greaseproof paper, which you'll see we use that very shortly in a moment for getting things sorted and getting it tipped out in a bit. But first of all, let's get it all scraped down. We're going to cover the mould basically right across. Now you're wondering why I'm doing that, because they're going to be hollowed out. Well, you'll see in a minute how we do that. Excuse a little bit of focusing. It might be a little bit darker this video than normal, so I was trying a new tripod and stuff, so you know, and I didn't want to do it all over again after I'd filmed it, so there we go. So we scrape that out, and basically what we're going to do now, once we've got all this scraped out, we've got to get all that mould filled up nicely. You know, okay, so that's filled now, see? So the greaseproof paper is underneath for a reason, and the reason is spillages for a start, but then we tip out all the excess chocolate. Now that comes pouring out, dribble dribble as they say. It keeps on dribbling. So we get all the excess chocolate. We'll use that later on as well, a little bit of that chocolate. So then we're just going to scrape it down to get rid of some of the excess off the top, make sure it's got a nice edge around the edge of the chocolate, so when we put them together, when they've cooled and they're ready, they'll stick together. So right, we'll just, oh, focusing is not good today. So right, what we're going to do, we turn it straight upside down. That will get rid of any excess, and that's why we basically have the greaseproof paper there. It just makes it easier. And we leave that there for about 5-6 minutes, and then we get round to lifting it up and checking it. Okay, that's fine. We get the big scraper out, and then we're going to sort of move across that and get round the edges, get rid of the excess chocolate around the edges. There we go. You know, be careful with that. It's quite that's a sharp piece of kit. You know, it's food grade, that one as well, but it's really sharp, and I did not want to cut my hands doing that. So trying to get as much of the chocolate off the edges, tap some of it out, any of the flakes come off, if you know what it's like. So yes, dirty hands. So right, it's been sat there for a while now, and we're going to basically, what are we going to do with it now? Let me think about that. Yes, we give it a quick twist, because it's now been set there, and it's now set. This has taken about 15 minutes to fully set, and we just want to make sure, give a twist, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, they will fall out naturally. Might need to give a little bit of tap there, and we did break a little bit on that one. So my suggestion is put a tea towel or something underneath that, not landing on top of a piece of parchment and a piece of marble underneath the parchment. Doesn't help. But you know, this is my first attempt at making these with dark chocolate. First attempt at making Easter eggs, to be perfectly honest. But I wanted to give it a go, and it's coming up to Easter, so why not? Anyway, we need the filling now. We put the eggs in the fridge now just to cool down a bit more, and now basically what we're going to do is make the filling, which we've got some of that melted chocolate we did earlier, and a little treat. We're going to add a little bit of teaspoons of brandy. Okay, brandy, and there we're just adding a little bit of Brazilian coffee extract. We're going to mix that all together. Had to remember then, to be honest. Very strange of me not to remember, but hey ho. Right, so we'll mix that together, and then we'll get on to the point where we need to basically put it into the moulds. But we get that nicely mixed up. It's a bit of a mucky job, you know. A little bit of brandy spilt onto the surface there, but don't worry about that. It can be easily wiped up. But, you know, it's not the cleanest job in the world to do. We've got our chocolates there, our eggshells, as they say, and we will, one by one, turn them over. I won't do them all at once on camera, because, you know, it just takes too long. But what I did is also got some of this gold, it's called rose gold spray, and it's a dust, and basically spray it over them. It's a little dust, a little edible gold dust, and the rose gold gives it a little tint, which I thought was quite a nice idea. So we get ready, and we're now going to start filling these up. We don't fill them completely up, just fill them about a quarter of the way up in each of the molds, because obviously they're both having it, otherwise it would be so rich, wouldn't it? So rich. And you know, a piping bag would be good. I thought about that afterwards, and maybe do that next time. But different flavours for different times. This one obviously is the brandy chocolate type ganache that I put within the eggs, and then we get to the fun part. As you can see now, I'm now just got a hot spatula, and I'm just rubbing around the edge of the shell, basically, so we can. This will also like users get them a bit sticky, so we can then basically. Oh, this is tricky. I'm sorry about the angle on the hang. I promise I'll do better next time. But yeah, basically push them together quite gently. Did the first one, and just to keep them in balance, I put them into a little bit of into these little shells here, the little cupcake holders. It was just easier to display them that way. And there we go, chocolate Easter eggs. A week or so to go till Easter. I hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to my next one. I am planning on doing vegan ice cream. That's one to watch out. You might get that tomorrow if you're very lucky.